every now and then I just scroll through the Nintendo eShop, not looking for anything in particular, and something small catches my eye. This time it was an image of a boy and a girl sitting by a fire in a very charming art style that got my attention, belonging to a little game called Dungeons of Dreadrock by Professor Dr. Christoph Minnemeyer. I briefly went through the description, watched the trailer, saw that it was on sale and went, why the heck not? And I definitely can say already that I have no regrets. In the game, you take control of a young girl who enters the titular Dungeons of Dreadrock to save her little brother, who is supposed to be sacrificed to the dead king. In order to do that, you have to fight and puzzle your way through Dreadrock Mountain's 99 levels. Let me stress one thing first. Despite what the tags on the eShop say, this is not an RPG. Instead, it is a very old-school puzzle game, where timing your moves and using your noggin to avoid traps and attack enemies, and also finding keys and solving puzzles are the core of the game. Everything is grid-based, and you can only move up, down, left and right. And the same applies to the monsters that stand in your way. Combat is very simple. To attack an enemy, you simply walk into them. If anything hits you once, you're dead and have to restart the stage. The controls are minimal, and at least during the first half of the game, using anything but the walking controls is quite rare. The puzzles are quite motivating and offer a lot of variation, and oftentimes you really need to use your brain if you want to find your way into the deepest depth of Dreadrock. Sometimes you have to defeat enemies at a specific spot, like on a switch, so their weight keeps pressure plates down. Sometimes you need to leave the stage that you are on and return to the previous floor to solve a puzzle. And sometimes you need to solve a level in a very specific way or you get stuck in the next one. This is one of the few negative things I have to say about this game. For example, you may end up using an item in a certain spot, which might make it unobtainable and you proceed to the next floor, only to then realize that that item is actually needed, so you need to restart the previous stage. In the worst case, you end up wasting time by defeating a powerful enemy and are then stuck on the next stage because you just don't know what to do, only to use the game's hint system to find out that the strong monster you killed is actually needed to proceed. So it kinda sucks that the game wants you to think inside a very specific box. While we're at it, my biggest complaint about this game is that oftentimes you figure out how to beat a stage, but the only problem is that you need to get the enemy AI to move to a certain location, and that is just painfully annoying because it oftentimes just does not act the way you want it to. There was only one time when I looked up something online because I just couldn't figure out the way I was supposed to move to get the enemy goblin where I wanted, and that was just frustrating. But apart from these two gripes, I really had a wonderful time with this game. The story is nothing spectacular, but you are given a clear motivation on what needs to be done and what's at stake. Cutscenes that get triggered whenever you rest at a bonfire tell you what is going on in the world, and tease you with foes that you will get to encounter eventually. The voice acting of the narrator that reads out the text when the story progresses, or whenever you interact with something, is quite good too, and really adds to the atmosphere.
The fire looks inviting, and the weariness of the last hours or days washes over you. You cuddle up next to it and fall fast asleep.
Of course, I need to mention the beautiful graphics and art style that this game has. There are a lot of tiny little details, and the sprites and animations are great. There isn't a lot of music in this game, but the little tune that gets triggered whenever you progress to a new level is really motivating, and it always feels rewarding when you get to hear it after a challenging puzzle. So to summarize, this game is a neat little gem. It's beautiful, fun and motivating, and works perfectly as a little gaming snack when you only have a couple of minutes. And it's easy on the wallet too. If you are someone who likes puzzle and adventure games and kind of wants something simple and not overly complex, then I definitely recommend a journey into the depths of Dreadrock Mountain. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider leaving a like. And if you want to see more of my content, why don't you subscribe to my channel? Thanks, and I hope you have a lovely day.